She returned as a caregiver to her frail billionaire ex, unaware he was planning to take their child. In today's story, we explore what happens when compassion becomes a weapon used against you. I stood in the quiet, dimly lit study of my ex-husband's massive estate, measuring out his evening heart medication. For 3 weeks, I had been spoon-feeding a man who claimed he was too weak to even hold a glass of water. "You always had such a gentle touch, Vanessa," Julian whispered from his wheelchair. He let out a weak, rattling cough. "Thank you for bringing our son here so I can see him one last time." I smiled softly and opened his desk drawer to put the pill bottles away. That was when I saw it. Tucked under a heavy leather binder was a freshly signed legal document. It was a petition for full, immediate emergency custody of my son, and attached to it was a private investigator's report proving Julian had not been sick a single day in his life. Have you ever realized the exact person you were pouring your heart out to heal was secretly building a trap to completely destroy you? Before the tea spills, I made a deal with myself that if we hit our next subscriber goal, my dog gets a massive steak dinner. Help a pop out and click subscribe. It costs nothing and makes this whole journey worth it. Sound off in the comments with where you are watching from. Now sit back and enjoy this story of betrayal, motherly love, and the ultimate revenge. To understand how I ended up in this nightmare, I have to take you back. My name is Vanessa. I am a black woman who learned the hard way that love can turn into a weapon. I had divorced Julian 2 years earlier. He was a billionaire who always liked to control everything around him. Our marriage started out like a dream. He swept me off my feet with his charm and big promises, but over time I saw the real him. The man who wanted to own me, not love me. When I got pregnant with our son Noah, things got worse. Julian tried to control every part of my life. I left him when Noah was just a baby. I took Noah and built a new life as a nurse. I worked hard, made a home for us in a small apartment, and focused on being the best mom I could be. Then one day the phone rang. It was Julian's assistant. He said Julian was dying. Heart failure, they told me. The doctors gave him only a few months. Julian wanted to see his son one last time, and he asked for me specifically to be his caregiver. He said he trusted no one else. I remembered how he used to say my touch was the only one that calmed him. My heart hurt thinking of Noah losing his father without a chance to say goodbye. My best friend Tanya warned me. She said Julian was up to something. "Girl, that man never did anything without an angle," she told me over coffee. "Why would he want you back in his house after how things ended?" But I am a compassionate person. I could not turn my back on a dying man, even if he was my ex. So I packed our bags. I took a leave from my job and brought Noah to the family estate. The estate was huge and isolated, far from the city. It sat on acres of land with tall gates and security. They had turned one whole wing into a medical area just for Julian. There were machines beeping, oxygen tanks, and a hospital bed in the big master suite. Nurses came and went during the day. But Julian insisted I handle his personal care. He said it gave him peace. The first day we arrived, the driver pulled up to the front. Noah held my hand tight. He was only 6 and did not fully understand. "Mom, is Daddy really sick?" he asked in his small voice. I squeezed his hand. "We are here to help him, baby. That's what families do." Julian was in his wheelchair when we walked into the room. His face looked pale and thin. Tubes ran from his arm to a machine. "Vanessa," he said in a weak voice. "You came." His eyes moved to Noah. "And you brought our boy. Thank you." Tears welled up in his eyes. I felt a pang in my chest. This was not the strong, commanding man I divorced. He looked broken. I set up my things in the room next door. The wing was quiet and cut off from the rest of the house. It felt like we were in our own world. For the first few days I focused on his care. I checked his vitals, gave him medicine on time, and helped him eat. He was too weak to do much himself. "You're saving my life, Vanessa," he would say softly. "I don't deserve your kindness after everything." We talked during the quiet evenings. He would reminisce about the good times. "Remember when we went to the lake house with Noah as a baby?" he asked one night while I adjusted his pillows. "You looked so happy." I nodded. "Those were good days, but we both know it didn't last." He coughed. "I know I made mistakes. I was too controlling. Money made me think I could have everything my way. Now look at me, stuck in this chair, facing the end." His voice cracked. "I just want to make it right with Noah." I want him to know his father loved him." Noah started to warm up to him. Julian would tell him stories from his bed or wheelchair. He had toys delivered, special ones Noah loved. My son laughed at his jokes. It made me think maybe this was healing for all of us, but something felt off from the start. The medical reports he showed me seemed vague. The nurses avoided my questions when I asked for more details on his condition. One afternoon, I was in the study looking for his pill schedule when I noticed the desk drawer was not locked like usual. I did not open it then, but I remembered it. Days passed. Julian grew a little stronger some days, then weaker others. He would hold Noah's hand and say things like, "Son, if anything happens to me, I want you to remember this place is your home, your real home." I smiled, but inside a small alarm went off. This was not our home. I had my own place. I was only here for a short time. One evening, after I put Noah to bed, Julian called me back to his room. "Vanessa, sit with me," he said. His voice was low. "I've been thinking about the future. If I don't make it, I've made arrangements. But I want you and Noah to stay here. This estate is big enough for both of you." I shook my head. "Julian, we have our own life. I'm just here to help you get through this." He reached for my hand with his shaky one. "I know, but a boy needs his family, both parents." That night I could not sleep. I thought about our past, how he had fought the divorce, how he had used his money and lawyers to make it hard for me. But in the end, I won primary custody. Now he was frail and asking for forgiveness. Or was he? The next morning, I overheard two nurses talking in the hall. They said something about how the boss was playing a long game. When I walked by, they stopped and smiled. "Just checking on the equipment," one said quickly. I pushed the doubts away. I had a job to do. But then came that night in the study. The night I found the papers. The custody petition. The report that said he had been seen at gyms and meetings, looking healthy as ever. No heart issues at all. It was all fake. The weakness, the cough, the wheelchair. It was a trap. He had lured me and our son here to take Noah away from me for good. My hand shook as I held the papers. I heard the wheels of his chair behind me in the hall. "Vanessa, is everything okay?" he called out in that same weak voice. But now I knew it was all an act. If you're as shocked as I was in that moment, hit that like button so I know you're with me. This story is about to take a wild turn. I froze with the papers still in my hands. My heart pounded so loud I was sure Julian could hear it from the hallway. The study was dim, just one small lamp on the big wooden desk. Outside the tall windows, the estate grounds were dark and silent. No one around for miles. That was when his wheelchair rolled into the room with a soft hum. "Vanessa?" His voice still sounded weak and raspy, like every word hurt him. "What are you doing in here so late? You should be resting." I quickly slid the papers back under the leather binder and closed the drawer. My fingers felt cold. I turned around and forced a calm smile on my face. "Just putting your medicine away like always, Julian. You left the drawer open earlier. I didn't want the pills to get mixed up." He watched me for a second too long. Even from the wheelchair, his eyes had that sharp look I remembered from our marriage, the one that said he was reading every little move I made. Then he coughed again, that same fake rattling sound. "Come sit with me for a minute. I hate being alone at night." I walked over slowly. My mind was racing. How long had this been going on? The private investigator report showed dates from months ago. Pictures of him walking without help, meeting with lawyers, laughing at a restaurant like nothing was wrong, and now the custody papers were fresh, signed just last week. He had brought me here on purpose, made me quit my job, pulled Noah out of his school, all so he could trap us in this isolated wing of the estate. I sat on the edge of the leather chair across from him. The room smelled like old books and his expensive cologne. "You look tired tonight?" I said, keeping my voice soft and caring. "Did the pain get worse?" Julian leaned back in the wheelchair. His blanket covered his legs even though the house was warm. "It's the nights that are hardest, thinking about Noah growing up without me." He reached out a hand that shook just enough to look real. "I'm glad you're here, Vanessa. You always knew how to make things better. Remember when Noah was a baby and he wouldn't stop crying? Only you could calm him down." I nodded, but inside I felt sick. He was using our son as a weapon again, just like before the divorce. Back then he would say things like, "A boy needs his father's money and name. You can't raise him in some tiny apartment." Now he was doing it with fake tears and a fake illness. "Tell me about Noah's day," he said quietly. "Did he like the new video games I ordered?" "He loved them," I answered. "But Julian, we can't stay here forever. My leave from the hospital is only for a few more weeks. Noah needs to get back to his real school and his friends." Julian's face stayed calm, but I saw his jaw tighten for half a second. Then he gave a weak smile. "Of course. I would never want to keep you from your life. I want to make sure Noah is taken care of if something happens to me. That's why I updated my will last month. Everything I own will be in a trust for him. But there are conditions." "Conditions?" I asked. My stomach turned. He nodded slowly. "The kind any good father would make. He needs stability, a proper home, not moving around from one small place to another. The estate has the best schools nearby. Private tutors. Everything a boy like him deserves." I kept my face neutral even though anger was building in my chest. "Noah is happy with me, Julian. We have a good life. I work hard. I'm a good mother." "You are," he said quickly. "Too good. That's why I asked you to come back. No one else could take care of me like this." He coughed again and closed his eyes like the pain was too much. "But deep down, I know I don't have long. The doctors were clear." I wanted to scream at him right there, to throw the papers in his face and tell him I knew everything. But I couldn't. Not yet. We were stuck on his property. Security at the gates. Cameras everywhere. And Noah was sleeping down the hall. If I made a scene now, Julian could twist it. Call me crazy or unstable. He had the money to make anything look true. Instead, I stood up and touched his shoulder gently, like the caring ex-wife he expected. "Get some rest. I'll check on you in a couple of hours. The night nurse will be here soon." "Thank you, Vanessa," he whispered. "You're an angel." As I left the study, my legs felt heavy. I walked straight to Noah's room and stood in the doorway watching him sleep. His small chest rose and fell under the soft blanket. He looked so peaceful. My baby, the one person in this world I would fight the devil himself for. No way was I letting Julian take him. The next morning I acted normal. I brought Julian his breakfast on a tray, scrambled eggs, toast, and his fake heart pills. He sat up in bed looking a little stronger today. Funny how that worked when he wanted to. Noah ran in after finishing his own food. "Daddy, can we play outside today? The garden has a swing." Julian smiled wide. "Of course, son, but Daddy is still a little weak. Maybe your mom can push you while I watch from the terrace." I nodded and took Noah's hand. "Sounds good. Fresh air will be nice for all of us." We spent the morning in the big garden behind the medical wing. Tall hedges blocked the view from the main house. It felt even more isolated. While Noah played on the swing, Julian sat in his wheelchair under an umbrella. He watched us with that same calculating look. "You know, Vanessa," he said when Noah ran off to pick flowers, "I've been thinking about us, about what went wrong." I kept my eyes on Noah. "We don't need to go there again." "But we do," he pressed. "I was wrong to try and control you. The money, the lawyers, all of it. I see that now. Facing death changes a man." He reached for my hand again. "I want to make it right. Maybe after I'm gone, you could stay here with Noah. Raise him in the house that should have been his all along." I pulled my hand back gently. "Julian, stop. I'm here to help you through the illness. That's all." He gave a small laugh that turned into a cough. "Always so strong. That's what I loved about you. But strength can be a problem too. Courts look at stability for a child, especially a boy with so much money waiting for him." There it was. The threat hidden behind sweet words. I felt my blood heat up. Before I could answer, Noah ran back holding a handful of yellow flowers. "For you, Mommy, and for Daddy." Julian took the flowers with shaky hands. "Thank you, son. These mean more to me than you know." Later that afternoon, I found a quiet moment in the small kitchen, attached to the medical wing. I pulled out my phone and tried to call my best friend, Tanya. No signal. Of course, the estate blocked everything. I had noticed it days ago, but thought it was just bad reception. Now I knew it was on purpose. I needed proof. Real proof I could use if things got bad. That night after Julian went to sleep, I waited until the night nurse left for her break. I slipped back into the study. My hands moved fast. I took pictures of the custody papers with my phone, then the investigator's report. Dates, photos, everything. My heart raced the whole time. If he caught me now, it would all be over. As I was closing the drawer, I heard footsteps. Not the wheelchair. Real footsteps. I ducked behind the big curtain just in time. Julian walked into the study without any help. No limp, no cough. He stood straight and tall, like the powerful man I used to know. He picked up his phone and made a call. "Yes, it's going perfectly," he said in a clear, strong voice. "She has no idea. The boy is bonding with me every day. In 2 weeks I'll file the emergency petition. With the fake medical records and the stability argument, the judge will grant me full custody before she can even blink. Vanessa will be out on the street where she belongs." He laughed softly. "And the best part, she's the one who brought him here. Perfect trap." My blood ran cold. This was worse than I thought. He had planned every single detail. Julian ended the call and walked out, still moving like a healthy man. I stayed hidden until I was sure he was gone. Then I crept back to my room shaking. I looked at Noah sleeping again. Tears filled my eyes. This man thought he could use his money and lies to steal my child. He thought I would just roll over because he was rich, and I was not. He had no idea who he was dealing with. I am a mother, and no one takes my son from me. The next few days I played the part even better. I smiled. I cared for him like nothing happened. But inside, I was planning. I found a way to get one small message out through an old landline in the storage room when no one was watching. I told Tanya the truth and asked her to get help, but time was running out. Julian was getting ready to spring the full trap. I could feel it. One evening, he called me into his room after Noah was in bed. He looked weak again, back in the wheelchair. "Vanessa, I need to talk to you about something important." I sat down, keeping my face calm. "What is it?" He pulled out a folder from beside his bed. "These are new custody papers. Just in case. I want you to sign them so everything is smooth if I pass away suddenly. It gives me shared custody now, and full if something happens to me. For Noah's protection." I stared at the papers. They were different from the ones in the drawer. "These look legal and ready. Sign them, Vanessa," he said softly. "For our son." I picked up the pen. My hand hovered over the page. This was the moment everything would change. I held the pen above the paper, my fingers steady even though my heart was racing inside. Julian watched me from his wheelchair with those fake weak eyes. The room felt smaller, the beeping machines louder. Noah was sleeping just down the hall, safe for now. But I knew one wrong move could change everything. I set the pen down slowly and looked straight at him. "Julian, I can't sign this tonight. I'm tired and I want to read everything carefully. A mother has to protect her child. You understand that, right?" He gave a small sigh like it hurt him to breathe. "Of course I do. That's why I had these drawn up. To protect Noah, but take your time. Just know that time is not on my side. The doctors say any day now could be my last." I nodded like I believed every word. "I'll look at them tomorrow with fresh eyes. Right now you need your rest. Let me help you back to bed." He let me push the wheelchair into the bedroom part of the suite. As I adjusted his pillows and checked the monitors, he grabbed my wrist gently. "Vanessa, you've been so good to me these past weeks. Better than I deserve. I hope you know how much that means." His touch felt cold. I pulled away softly and smiled. "Get some sleep. I'll see you in the morning." The second I left his room, I went straight to my own and locked the door. I pulled out my phone and looked at the pictures I had taken of the real documents, the ones that proved he was never sick. I had them saved in a hidden folder. Proof. But proof alone wouldn't be enough if we were stuck here. The estate was like a prison with golden gates, security cameras on every corner, guards at the front. No cell signal. I needed a real plan. The next morning I woke up early. Noah was still asleep, his little face peaceful. I kissed his forehead and whispered, "Mommy is going to fix this, baby. I promise." Down in the kitchen wing, I made breakfast like usual, but today I paid attention to every detail. The night nurse, a quiet woman named Rita, was packing up to leave. I had noticed she sometimes left the side gate unlocked when she went to her car in the staff parking. It was a small chance, but maybe the only one. "Good morning, Rita," I said with a warm smile as I poured coffee. "Rough night?" She shrugged. "Same as Always. Mr. Julian seems stable, but you never know with his heart. I nodded. Listen, I was thinking. Noah has been cooped up. Is there any way we could take a short walk outside the grounds? Just to the main road and back? Fresh air might help him. Rita looked nervous. I don't know. Mr. Julian said no one leaves without his okay, especially with a boy. I kept my voice calm and friendly. It's just for a little while. I'll take full responsibility. You know how kids get restless. She hesitated, then sighed. Okay, but be quick, and don't tell him I said yes. Thank you, I whispered. You're a lifesaver. I waited until Julian was in the middle of his fake morning checkup with the day nurse. Then I grabbed Noah's hand and a small bag with our important things. My phone, the printed copies I had made secretly on the old office printer, and a bit of cash I had hidden. Where are we going, Mommy? Noah asked as we slipped out the side door. Just a quick adventure, sweetie. Mommy needs to make a phone call. We walked fast through the garden paths toward the side gate. My heart pounded with every step. The tall hedges hid us from the main house. When we reached the gate, it was unlocked, just like I hoped. We stepped through and started down the long private road toward the main highway. It was at least a mile, but we had to try. Halfway there, Noah got tired. Can we go back? My legs hurt. Not yet, baby. We're almost there. I picked him up and carried him, even though he was getting heavy. Sweat ran down my back. Every second counted. Finally, we reached the main road. A few cars passed, but no one stopped. I waved my phone in the air until I got one bar of signal. My hands shook as I dialed Tanya. Vanessa? Her voice came through crackly. Where are you? I've been worried sick. Listen, I don't have much time, I said quickly. Julian is not sick. It's all fake. He's trying to take Noah from me. Full custody. I have proof on my phone. Pictures of the papers. But we're trapped at the estate. Send help. Call the police. Tell them it's an emergency custody situation. Fake illness. Kidnapping threat. Tanya's voice got serious. I'm on it right now. Stay safe. Don't go back if you can help it. I hung up just as a black SUV came down the private road behind us. Security. They must have seen us on the cameras. I grabbed Noah tighter and stepped onto the highway shoulder, waving at passing cars. One old truck slowed down. A kind-looking older man rolled down the window. Need help, miss? Yes, please, I said. My son and I need a ride to the nearest town. It's an emergency. He nodded. Hop in. We climbed into the truck just as the SUV reached the gate. The guards jumped out, but the truck pulled away fast. In the side mirror, I saw them talking on their radios. Julian would know soon. In the truck, Noah sat on my lap. Are we running from Daddy? He asked in a small voice. Not running, baby. We're protecting ourselves. Daddy is not feeling well in his heart, but not the way he says. Mommy has to keep you safe. The driver dropped us at a small diner in the nearest town, about 20 minutes away. I thanked him and went inside. I used the diner's Wi-Fi to email the pictures to Tanya and to my own lawyer from the divorce. Then I called the local police station. A woman answered. How can I help? My name is Vanessa Taylor. My ex-husband is holding us against our will at his estate. He faked a serious illness to lure me and our 6-year-old son there. Now he's planning to file for emergency custody. I have proof. The officer took my details and said they would send someone to check. But I knew rich men like Julian had friends in high places. It might not be enough. I ordered juice for Noah and coffee for me. We sat in a corner booth. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Every time the door opened, I jumped. What if Julian's men found us first? An hour later, my phone rang. It was my lawyer, Mr. Reeves. Vanessa, I got the pictures. This is serious. The investigator report is clear evidence of fraud. We can fight the custody petition. But you need to stay safe. Do not go back to the estate. I'm filing an emergency motion right now to protect your custody rights. Thank you, I whispered. But Noah and I have nowhere to go right now. We left with almost nothing. Stay at the diner. I'll arrange a safe hotel and transportation, and the police should be there soon to take a statement. I hung up and hugged Noah close. "We're going to be okay, baby. Mommy is fighting for us." But deep down I knew Julian wouldn't let us go that easily. He had too much money. Too much pride. He had planned this for months. 2 police officers walked into the diner 20 minutes later. They took my statement and looked at the photos on my phone. The older officer shook his head. "This sounds like a domestic situation with big money involved. We'll go to the estate and talk to Mr. Taylor. You and the boy stay here until we sort it out." "Thank you," I said. "Please be careful. He's very good at lying." They left, and I waited with Noah. He drew pictures on napkins with crayons the waitress gave him. One was of me and him holding hands. Another had a big house with a sad face on it. My heart ached. After another hour, my phone rang again. It was Tanya. "Vanessa, I'm on my way to you with clothes and money. But you need to hear this. The police just called me. They went to the estate. Julian put on the full sick act. Wheelchair, oxygen, the works. He told them you're unstable and trying to keep his son from him during his final days. He showed them medical records. Fake ones, of course. They didn't arrest him. They said it's a civil matter." My stomach dropped. "Of course. Money talks. But here's the good part," Tanya continued. "Your lawyer filed the motion. A judge is looking at your evidence right now. We might get a temporary order to keep custody with you." I closed my eyes. It wasn't over. Not even close. That afternoon a car arrived to take us to a safe hotel in the city. Tanya was waiting there with bags of clothes, food, and toys for Noah. She hugged me tight. "You did the right thing getting out." I hugged her back. "But Julian will come after us. He always does." Later that night, after Noah was asleep in the hotel bed, I sat by the window looking at the city lights. My mind went back to the study, to the moment I found the papers. I had been so trusting at first, so compassionate. Now I felt like a different woman. Stronger, ready to fight like a lioness. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "You think you can run?" It read, "I will see my son, and I will win. This is not over, Vanessa." It was Julian. He had dropped the weak voice even in text. I typed back one line, "Watch me." Then I blocked the number. The fight had just begun. But for the first time, I wasn't the one being trapped. I was the one setting the rules. If you're feeling that Mama Bear energy right now, hit that like button. Nothing makes a woman more dangerous than threatening her child. The hotel room felt small but safe compared to the huge estate. City noise drifted up from the street below. Car horns, people talking, life moving on. I sat on the edge of the bed watching Noah sleep. His small chest rose and fell peacefully under the thin blanket. Tanya had brought us new clothes and some of Noah's favorite snacks. She had left an hour ago, promising to come back in the morning with more updates from my lawyer. But sleep wouldn't come for me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Julian in that wheelchair, pretending to be weak. I heard his voice on the phone call I had overheard, clear and strong, planning to take my son. The text he sent still burned in my mind. "You think you can run? I will see my son, and I will win." I stood up quietly and walked to the window. The city lights stretched out like stars on the ground. Somewhere out there, Julian was probably already moving his pieces, calling his lawyers, pulling strings. Men like him didn't lose easily. But neither did I. The next morning, my lawyer, Mr. Reeves, called early. "Vanessa, good news and bad news. The judge reviewed your photos and the investigator report. He granted a temporary restraining order against Julian contacting you or Noah, and he froze any custody filing for now. But Julian's team is already fighting it. They claim the medical records are real and that you kidnapped Noah from his dying father's bedside. They want a hearing in 3 days. 3 days. My stomach tightened. That wasn't much time. "What do we do?" I asked. "We prepare," he said. "Bring every piece of evidence. Your old divorce papers showing you have primary custody. Bank records proving you support Noah on your own. And we need to show the court the fake illness." I have a contact who can verify the investigator's report is legitimate. Stay hidden. Do not answer any unknown calls." I hung up and looked at Noah eating cereal at the small table. He looked up with big eyes. "Is Daddy mad at us?" I knelt down beside him and brushed his hair back. "Daddy is sick in a different way, baby. Sometimes grown-ups make bad choices when they want something too much. But Mommy is here. I will always keep you safe." He nodded slowly. "Can we go home soon? To our apartment?" "Soon," I promised. "But first we have to talk to a judge. You might have to tell him you want to stay with me." Noah thought about that. "I want to stay with you, Mommy, but I liked playing with Daddy sometimes. He gave me cool toys." My heart squeezed. "I know, baby. We'll figure it out." Tanya arrived with coffee and fresh clothes. She had been my rock since college. Tall, no nonsense, and always ready to fight. "Girl, you look like you haven't slept. Let me take Noah to the park downstairs while you rest." I shook my head. "No, I need to stay sharp. Julian could have people watching." We spent the day inside the hotel. I went over every detail with Mr. Reeves on speakerphone. We listed every lie Julian had told, the way he faked the cough, the way he could walk when he thought no one was looking. The custody papers hidden in the drawer. That evening my phone rang from a blocked number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to. "Vanessa." Julian's voice came through, strong and cold. No fake weakness now. "You really thought you could run with my son?" I kept my voice steady. "He is not your son to take, Julian. He is our son, and I have full custody." "For now," he said, "but things change, especially when a mother abandons a dying man and drags the child away in the middle of the night. The press will love that story. My team is already drafting the statement." "You wouldn't dare," I said. "The proof is with the judge." He laughed softly. "Proof can be explained away. Money makes explanations easy. Come back to the estate tonight. Bring Noah. We can settle this quietly. I'll even drop the emergency petition. You can stay as his mother, under my roof, where you belong." The word sent ice down my spine. He still thought he could control me. "No, Julian, I'm done playing your games. You lied to me. You used our son as bait. I will see you in court." He was quiet for a second. Then his voice dropped lower. "You have no idea what I can do. I built an empire from nothing. You're just a nurse from a small life. Don't make me destroy you." I hung up and blocked the number again. My hands were shaking, but not from fear anymore. From anger. Pure, burning anger. The next 2 days blurred together. Mr. Reeves brought more papers to the hotel. We practiced what I would say in court. Tanya helped me pick a simple black dress that looked professional but strong. I rehearsed with Noah too, gently explaining that the judge might ask him questions. On the morning of the hearing, we drove to the courthouse in a car Mr. Reeves arranged. My stomach was in knots. Noah held my hand tight in the back seat. The building was big and cold inside. Marble floors and echoey halls. We waited in a small room until they called us. Julian was already there when we walked into the courtroom. He sat in a wheelchair again, oxygen tube in his nose, looking pale and frail. His expensive lawyer stood beside him with a stack of files. But when our eyes met, I saw the real Julian for a split second. Cold and calculating, the judge entered, and everyone stood. Then the hearing began. Mr. Reeves spoke first. He laid out the evidence. The photos of the custody petition. The investigator's report with dates and pictures showing Julian healthy and active. He played a short clip from my phone where I had secretly recorded Julian walking normally in the study that night. Julian's lawyer jumped up. "Your Honor, this is all circumstantial. My client is gravely ill. These photos could be old or doctored. Mrs. Taylor has a history of emotional instability. She left her husband during his time of need." The judge looked at me. "Mrs. Taylor, what do you have to say?" I stood up, straight. My voice was clear and calm. "I went back to care for the man I once loved because I thought he was dying. I brought our son so he could say goodbye, but it was all a lie. Julian faked his illness to lure us to the estate. He wanted to trap us there and take full custody. I have the proof, and I have messages where he threatened me." I handed over printed copies and my phone for the clerk. Julian coughed weakly from his wheelchair. "Your Honor, please, I only want what's best for my son. A stable home. My fortune. Vanessa is a good woman, but she cannot provide the life Noah deserves. The judge asked to speak to Noah privately with a child specialist. They took him to another room. I waited, nerves tight. Julian watched me across the courtroom, his eyes hard even behind the sick act. When Noah came back, the judge looked serious. I've reviewed everything. The evidence of deception is concerning. For now, primary custody remains with the mother. Mr. Taylor, you will undergo an independent medical examination within 48 hours. Any further attempts to contact Mrs. Taylor or the child outside of supervised visits will result in contempt charges. Julian's face stayed calm, but I saw his hands grip the wheelchair arms tighter. The judge continued. This case shows a clear pattern of manipulation. Mrs. Taylor, you showed great courage getting your son out safely. The court appreciates that. We won the first round. Outside the courthouse, Julian's men tried to approach, but police kept them back. Tanya hugged me hard. You did it, girl. But I knew it wasn't finished. Julian would not stop. That night back at the hotel, I got another call. This time from an unknown woman. Mrs. Taylor? This is Dr. Morris from the independent medical team. Mr. Taylor refused the exam. He claims he's too weak to travel, but we have ways to handle that. I smiled for the first time in days. Thank you. The next morning, things moved fast. Court officers went to the estate with the order. They found Julian walking around his study without any help. No wheelchair, no oxygen. Security footage from the estate showed him exercising in his private gym the day before. The judge was furious. He issued a stronger order. Full custody stayed with me. Julian was banned from unsupervised contact with Noah until further notice, and the fraud investigation started. I stood in the hotel room packing our bags to finally go home. Noah ran around with his new toy car from Tanya. Mommy, are we really going back to our apartment? Yes, baby, our real home. My phone buzzed. A message from Julian from a new number. This is not the end. I will see my son again. I typed back slowly. You will see him when the court says you can, and only then. Never underestimate what a mother will do to protect her child. I blocked the number and turned off my phone for a while. We drove home that afternoon. The small apartment felt like heaven after the big cold estate. Noah ran to his room and jumped on his bed. I stood in the kitchen making our favorite simple dinner, spaghetti and meatballs. Later, after Noah was asleep, I sat on the couch with a cup of tea. The past weeks played in my head like a movie. The fake illness, the trap, the fear, but also my own strength. I had gone in as a compassionate caregiver. I came out as a fighter. Julian thought his money and lies could break me. He thought he could use our child as a pawn. He was wrong. A mother's love is stronger than any fortune, stronger than any plan. And I was just getting started. Weeks passed after the court hearing. Life slowly started to feel normal again in our small apartment. Noah went back to his old school. He laughed with his friends at recess and came home with drawings of our family. Just me and him, holding hands under a bright sun. No big mansion, no wheelchair, just us. I returned to my nursing job at the hospital, the familiar smell of clean floors, and the busy sounds of patients, and doctors grounded me. My co-workers welcomed me back with hugs and questions, but I kept the story simple. Family matters, everything is okay now, but deep down I stayed alert. Julian did not disappear quietly. His lawyers sent letters demanding visitation rights. Private investigators tried to follow me a couple of times. I spotted them and reported it right away. Each time the court pushed back harder. The fraud case against him was moving forward. Fake medical records, attempted manipulation of custody. It was all adding up. One afternoon I picked Noah up from school. He ran to me with a big smile, backpack bouncing. Mommy, today we learned about strong animals, like lions protecting their babies. I laughed and hugged him tight. That's right, baby. Lions are very protective. We walked home holding hands. The sun felt warm on my face. For the first time in a long time, I breathed easier. But as we turned the corner to our building, I saw a black car parked across the street. Tinted windows, the same kind Julian used. My steps slowed. I pulled Noah closer. Stay right by me, okay? We went inside quickly and locked the door. I called Mr. Reeves right away. Another car is watching us, same as last week. He promised to file another complaint. The court had already warned Julian. One more violation and he could face real jail time, not just fines. That evening, while Noah did his homework at the kitchen table, my phone rang. It was a number I didn't know, but something made me answer. "Vanessa." Julian's voice came through, tired this time. Not angry, not threatening, just tired. I kept my tone firm. "What do you want?" He was quiet for a moment. "I saw the news about the investigation. My lawyers say it doesn't look good. The medical board is involved now. My reputation, it's falling apart." "You did this to yourself," I said. "You lied. You tried to steal our son." "I know." His voice cracked a little. "I thought if I could get Noah with me, I could control everything again. The way I used to control my business. The way I tried to control you. But I was wrong. Watching you in that courtroom. The way you fought for him. It reminded me of the woman I married. The strong one." I didn't soften. "Strength isn't something you get to use when it's convenient, Julian. You tried to break me with your money and your games. But all you did was make me stronger." He sighed. "I'm not asking to come back into your life. I know that ship has sailed. But Noah is my son, too. I want to see him. Supervised. Whatever the court says. I don't want him to grow up thinking his father is a monster." I looked over at Noah, coloring quietly. His small tongue stuck out the way it did when he focused hard. My heart softened just a little, but not enough to forget. "I'll talk to the lawyer," I said, "but it will be on my terms. And if you ever try anything like this again, I will make sure the whole world knows exactly who you are." "Thank you, Vanessa." His voice was low. "You were always the better parent." I hung up and sat down next to Noah. He looked up with his bright eyes. "Was that Daddy?" "Yes, baby. He wants to see you someday. But only if it's safe." "How do you feel about that?" Noah thought for a minute. "I liked some parts, the toys and stories. But I don't like when he makes you scared. I want to stay with you." I pulled him into a hug. "Then that's what we'll do. Mommy will always put you first." The next court date came 2 months later. This time it was about visitation. Julian showed up without the wheelchair. No acting, just a man in an expensive suit who looked like he had aged years in a few weeks. The fraud charges had hit his business hard. Some partners pulled out. Money couldn't fix everything. The judge listened to both sides. Mr. Reeves spoke clearly about the danger Julian had put us in. Julian's lawyer asked for limited supervised visits. When it was my turn, I stood tall. "I'm not trying to keep Noah from knowing his father completely, but after what happened, trust is broken. I asked the court to start with short supervised visits here in the city. No estate, no tricks, and if Julian follows every rule, we can talk about more later." The judge nodded. "Mrs. Taylor has shown herself to be a responsible and protective parent. Mr. Taylor, your actions nearly cost you any relationship with your son. I am granting supervised visitation once a month for 2 hours, at a neutral location. Any violation and it stops." Julian looked at me across the room. For the first time I saw something like real regret in his eyes. He gave a small nod. After the hearing, he walked up to me slowly while Noah waited with Tanya. "Vanessa, I meant what I said on the phone. You win. I underestimated you." I looked him straight in the eye. "No, Julian. It was never about winning or losing. It was about protecting our child. Never underestimate a mother's protective instincts. We will do anything for our babies. Lie, cheat, steal, no. We fight with truth, with love, with everything we have." He lowered his head. "I see that now." The first supervised visit happened 3 weeks later in a quiet park with a court-appointed monitor watching from a bench. Noah was nervous at first. He held my hand until Julian arrived. They played catch with a ball. Julian told a funny story about when Noah was a baby and tried to eat dirt. Noah laughed. I watched from a distance. My chest felt tight, but not with fear anymore, with careful hope. Maybe one day Noah could have both parents in his life without danger. But I would never let my guard down completely. That night after the visit, Noah snuggled next to me on the couch while we watched a cartoon. "Mommy, Daddy said he's sorry for making you mad." I kissed the top of his head. "Sometimes sorry takes time to prove, baby, but we'll see." As the months went by, things settled into a new rhythm. Julian followed every rule. The visits got a little longer. He even started paying proper child support without fighting. His big empire took some hits, but he was still wealthy. The difference was he stopped trying to use it as a weapon against me. I grew stronger, too. I went back to school part-time to become a nursing supervisor. My confidence came back fuller than before. Friends noticed the change. "You walk different now," Tanya told me one day. "Like nobody can push you around." "Because they can't," I said with a smile. One evening, Noah and I sat on our small balcony looking at the stars. He pointed up. "Mommy, do you think Daddy can see the same stars from his big house?" "Yes, baby. The stars are for everyone." He was quiet for a minute. "I'm glad we have our home, but I'm also glad I can see Daddy sometimes." I hugged him close. "Me too. As long as you're safe and happy, that's what matters." Looking back, I realized the trap Julian set had done something he never planned. It woke up a part of me I didn't know was there. The fierce protector. The woman who would walk through fire for her child. I went into that estate as a compassionate caregiver trying to do the right thing. I came out knowing exactly how strong I could be. Julian learned a hard lesson too. Money can't buy everything. It can't buy a child's love if you break trust, and it definitely can't break a mother's will. Never underestimate a mother's protective instincts. We are proof of that. If you're a mom watching this, remember your power. You are stronger than you know. Fight for your babies. Stand tall and never let anyone dim your light. Thank you for staying with this story until the end. It means the world. Drop a comment and tell me, what would you have done if you were in Vanessa's shoes? And if this story touched you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. My dog is still waiting for that steak dinner. Hit the goal. Help a good boy out. Until next time, stay strong and protect what matters most.